They're out of mana. This is a huge window of opportunity. This is why Katarina exists. Since Monuments of Power released, I have been kind of obsessed with Noxkraya Arena, and I've been trying a number of different decks with it. And the deck that we're going to be looking at today is just kind of your typical frostbite mid-range. I like to call this the frozen deck because of frostbite, but also because I'm running Ashe and then one copy of Katarina. So they are kind of my Anna and Elsa of the list. And I'll talk about the Katarina inclusion, but we're going to go through the list. Deck code will be in the video description. Because of your guys' requests, I'm posting Mobalytics codes as well, so that you can go to the URL if you're on mobile, because I know it's kind of a pain. But right out of the gate here, Brittle Steel, this is a frostbite deck after all. This is a very cost-effective card to do that, and so it's included. In the 2 slots, we've got Avarosan Sentry, because it's a Freljord deck, and this is one of your better 2-drops. Iceveil Archer, frostbite, self-explanatory. Now, I'm running 3 copies of Starlit Seer simply because this is a relatively spell-heavy list. When you're looking at the ratio here, we're almost even on units and spells, and as such, this can get you a lot of value. The 2/3 body is nice. Sometimes people see this and they kind of overextend to get rid of it, and if they don't, then, as I said before, you can get a lot of value, so nice inclusion. Troll Chant. Great combat trick, not quite frostbite, so it doesn't help as far as leveling Ashe up, but this deck is very attack focused because you're trying to get Katarina on the board or get Ashe on the board and then attack, and as such you need some combat tricks for when you're on your blocking turns, and this is another great way to do it besides frostbite. Culling Strike. This card is in here for a number of reasons. One, still seeing a fair amount of Soraka Tahm Kench, at least to me personally, so it's a great card to include for that matchup, but also we've got countless ways to frostbite things, and it turns out it doesn't matter whether, you know, it is naturally a small unit or if it's somebody's Tryndamere. Once it's been frostbitten, you can Culling Strike it and then it's gone. So great inclusion. 3 copies of Flash Freeze because, again, frostbite deck. All right, so Katarina, I include the 1 copy, and I could even see this potentially increasing, but as I was saying before, this is a very attack focused and attack centric list because Ashe gets her bonus when she is on offense, and you want to attack as many times as possible, even more so because the entire point of the deck is with Noxkraya Arena, anything that's frostbitten automatically becomes the weakest enemy unit. The arena makes your strongest unit fight their weakest unit at end of turn, and so by engaging and going on attack with your Ashe, you're guaranteeing that there's a unit frostbitten for your arena to take advantage of. So Katarina here, it's just a one of because getting multiples, in my opinion, can be a bit clunky, but Katarina here gives you an opportunity to rally and start attacking on your opponent's turns. So once you get her to level 2, it becomes kind of a mind game with your opponent because they've got to always play around the fact that you could just rally and then open up on them. So I like it. It's one of those cards that every now and then the time will come where it will just win you the game and you're like, oh man, I really want to run more Katarinas, but trust me, I think 1 is the sweet spot. Now, that being said, I want to address the other kind of elephant in the room, or I guess I should say pig or boar in the room, or that is not in the room, and that's Sejuani. You can run this list as an Ashe Sejuani list. That's also entirely fine. I actually was running that for a while, but the reason that I've went to this version, at least as of late, is because I have been enjoying the consistency of always drawing Ashe with Bjerg. Now, I guess I should put an asterisk there because Ashe is the only 5-power unit naturally in the deck, but as I said before, sometimes Starlit Seer can get you a lot of value, and so if this has been on the board for a bit and you have not drawn a unit for a while, there is sometimes scenarios where Bjerg will pull other units because they have been buffed multiple times, but just base no Starlit Seer buffs. If you play Bjerg, you're going to get an Ashe. Now, that's great because she's the linchpin of your deck, but it's also important because if you already have Ashe on the board, that also means you know you're going to draw a Flash Freeze because that's what it'll turn into, and so you can kind of have that peace of mind when you're going into combat. And so right now, I have not been running Sej, but that's an entirely viable option. I was just opting for more consistency and for the Katarina play. So continuing through the list real quick, Tavern Keeper. Pirate aggro is also a thing still, and this is really just here for that matchup. Extra Nexus health is great. Every now and then you might heal your own unit, but for the most part, this is almost always healing your Nexus and then giving you a 3/3 blocker just to buy you time until you can get up and running. Because this deck against aggro, you're kind of just trying to dominate the board, and you can do that, but you need your Nexus to also not get burned down along the way, and this helps. Fervor for your own burn, for your own combat tricks. Fervor is also in here for Lee Sin matchups, as weird as that sounds, because Lee Sin's still also popular on the ladder, and every now and then you get folks who try to go for the Zenith Blade Lee Sin combo. So if you're not familiar, you can get Lee Sin's attack up to 10 with a Zenith Blade because of the overwhelm, and then he attacks something. You kind of just win as the Lee Sin deck, because overwhelm means that you deal the damage anyway because you're not blocked, and the Dragon's Rage means that you punt the unit that was blocking you at their Nexus and they take 10 and then they take 10 again. However, if it's a unit that you can kill with your own Fervor, you can reduce the damage you take because the Dragon's Rage doesn't go off. Dragon's Rage will not work on a unit that does not exist. And so I have actually won games because I have fervored my own Ashe just so I didn't take a bunch of damage. So it's here because it's burn, it's here because it's a good card, but it also really helps you in the Lee Sin matchup. One Scorched Earth just as emergency kind of panic button landmark removal. It can also be just traditional removal, but really this is just for landmarks. Ashe, Linchpin, Bjerg, this is a tutor to find your Ashe. Arena, because I'm obsessed with it and it's phenomenal with Frostbite, and then 2 Harsh Winds to round out the top. So this is the list. Deck code and URL will be in the video description, and as always, like I do with these videos, we're gonna go play a couple of games on the ladder so you can get a feel for it. All right, this is gonna be a challenge. Yuck, 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 yuck. I don't know if I actually want to keep the Tavern Keeper. I'll keep one Bjerg because it's insurance plan for finding Ashe. But I don't. All right, Culling Strike is a big pickup for us. Yeah, I think we just pass. I don't know. Now I want the now I want the Tavern Keeper back. Do I really want to prevent the gem bad enough to frostbite here? I think the answer is no. I think they just get a gem. Wow. Our hand is awful.
Mystical levitation requires concentration.
Our hand is awful. All right, we're gonna see if we can dig ourselves out of a hole here.
Celestial power.
We're just gonna be stuck taking a ton of damage, but we know we're gonna get Ashe going in the next turn.
Master yourself. Master your enemy.
There's the Lee Sin that we were waiting on. All right, we took a lot of damage. Oh my god, that was so awful. What a bad start. We took a lot of damage, but well, of course they have another Lee Sin. Why wouldn't they?
Swiftly now.
If they want to trade the Lee Sin here, I guess I'm fine with that.
I'm too airborne. I will not hold back.
Well, they're gonna get a lot of gems. So many gems.
I'll see this through.
So this is going to be gems into Lee Sin chicanery.
Back. My land need. Prepare yourself.
And the 4 mana has to be for
Bar the doors.
so this is a tough call because like I could harsh winds this, but with 4 mana they've got to have a bastion at this point, right? So I think this is the play. I mean, I don't even want to take this block, but we don't really have much choice.
Who goes there?
They take the heal. I mean, I guess harsh wind still would have been fine. Ashe survives that as well.
Avarosans, stand together.
I mean, this telegraphs that
I will not hold back.
they definitely have a flash freeze of some kind, but
The time is right. Strike now.
I think we just take it.
This will be a good winter.
They're fine with Lee Sin taking the damage. They're just gonna gem him up anyway.
Conflict is
So here's
all
the
in the
heal.
mind.
Here's the heal.
I will not hold back.
There's the mentor.
See purple?
They have 1 gem left. So if they've got
They forced us to
Bastion,
choose death or the blade.
Bastion plus gem on this with that 5 mana they had would have been a bit rough. All right.
Her flowers bring the moonlight with them.
So Lee Sin's gonna do his thing.
Lunari, rise.
Center your spirit.
I think we get rid of the mentor here. Go this
My
route.
aim is true.
Ooh, we had such a bad start. The fact that I'm even trying to claw out of this is a bit of a miracle, I'm not gonna lie. So Ashe is gonna go back to hand. I think we still do this here, so I just take less damage.
This will be a good winter.
Do they have another hush?
Our enemies cannot hide.
I mean, that gets him back to 4, which doesn't kill my Ashe, but it does push 4 damage. All right. All right. Bit of a jockey for position there.
Find your own light within the darkness.
Yours is a light.
There's a Diana.
Faster than my arrow? I think not.
So now they basically have to gem up this Diana to keep her. Okay.
I'll see this through.
I respect that.
No.
Let's play our cat. Meow. Three or less health. Yeah, the gems don't help actually.
I will not hold back.
So we can attempt this, and we even have our Blade's Edge to pop a Bastion, potentially.
Blessed by snow and stars.
Blood for Noxus.
Kind of surprised they didn't gem on Lee Sin to be able to block.
Violence solves everything.
I mean, maybe they just didn't want to deal with the Blade Judge. I mean, we still, I think, do this on the barrier here to maybe put some damage on the Lee Sin, or do we just throw it at their face? This is actually a bit of a tough call. Because we have another wins, so I think we're fine in that regard. It's just, do I want to put damage on Lee Sin? Do I think that's how we are going to get rid of him? I think the answer might actually be no. I think this just goes Nexus.
This would be a good.
I could go either way on that play. They have 6 mana with 2 cards that were playable, but they didn't play them, so there's something going on. Bjerg there is beautiful.
I'll see this through. Strike firm. Prepare yourself. Conflict is all in the mind. Does not ruffle our
So again, Ashe will go back to her hand. So we start with the wins.
season.
Yep, I think we just lock this in.
Conflict is all in
So
the
they're gonna
mind.
go hunting for buffs for Lee Sin. They find the silence. Oh, all right. So Ashe is gonna die either way. So the question becomes, what do we do with this fervor now? Because if I put damage on this, again, they've got the gem to heal. So that's problematic. I mean, we're just going to get another Ashe back anyway. I think we just let this go. We're just going to play the Bjerg, take the 4.
Continue without me.
You could argue you put the damage there because this is going to fight into that, but then we're just going to play the Bjerg, and this fights better into that, so... we'd just rather get that out of the way. How are we still in this game? I'm really tempted to take the open attack here because we have a cat to rally. So we're going to.
Believe me.
This isn't quite lethal, and they have Nexus healing as a potential option, yeah, and other options, but the cat to rally is still relevant, so
You're a big one.
I am aware.
yeah, that's a dude.
On one arrow.
Are they doing the math? Are they figuring out that we're gonna go with this cat? They can do that there, but tiebreaker is going to still go to this as being the thing that ends up frozen. So they're out of mana. This is a huge window of opportunity. This is why Katarina exists. I've been mentally just dumbfounded through this game because we had such a bad start and I made a couple of play mistakes in between. So if you're watching this, yes, I realized after the fact, but cat first. Do it like this. But this is such a big window for us.
You cannot win.
Because that unit's gone, and then this one also gets wiped. Thank you, Arena. And so they're at 1 and we're at 3, but we've got a fervor.
The spirit gives to those who listen.
And we have this cat to rally. Literally a rally cat.
I am prepared.
All right, they're gonna draw. Yes, I have no business winning that. Let's go play another. Wow. So now we get to see who the real Frost Queen is. We're up against what is likely the old Plunder Swain Sejuani fun. You know, last time I didn't keep Tavern Keeper and I regretted it. I really want a 2-drop here, but we run an abundance of them. I think Beard goes, but we're gonna keep the Keeper. Kind of wanted the Ashe insurance, if you will, but there we go. I wanted to find something to play here on 2. That's a great start for them. Feeling energized after that last game. I was kind of down. Like, it started all right-ish. We had the slow start. Didn't feel super great about it. I was in a mental fog. I didn't have enough coffee. Like, let's be honest. Coffee cures everything.
Let me show you what I can do.
But I'm feeling much better now. Interesting. This actually just might be straight up far more aggressive than I was anticipating.
Leave your bags in the door.
So, you know what? I kind of want to just let that go, but... Like, I could swing with this and they could maybe, what, frostbite me and block?
How about another round?
Timing is everything.
Damn it.
Or do they have
Fire
Scorch Earth? They have
knows
Ember Maiden. Wow. All right. So I guess I should have just taken the dry pass there because that Ember Maiden ends up being brutal.
Snow swallows their tears.
Let's do this. And since we have a backup, well, I mean, I could just Tavern Keeper later to heal. Yeah, let's just do this. The consideration there was, if you Culling Strike this, then you also don't have to worry about taking the 1 extra damage next turn when Ember Maiden fires off, but I feel like getting Bjerg on the board is relevant because we need Ashe. We're about to be on offense next turn. We also, I guess, forced that out of him, so fine.
All the world on one arrow. Remember the objectives.
Really nice play from them. Unless they run... So this is actually kind of a tough call. We could swing with the Ashe. They likely block. And then we have to worry about her taking 1 damage. And I was about to say, unless they run Blade's Edge, I'm not worried about it. But we already seen them play Ember Maiden, actually. And they still have the 3 mana. What are the chances they have 2 Ember Maidens? Because I can always heal Ashe later if I really need to with this, though I'd prefer to use this on the Nexus.
Show me a fight. Let's get a good look at you.
I mean, they also could have a buff, right? This could be like a brother's bond or something, but Death's Hand, that gets it done as well. At the end of the day, though, I think losing our Ashe to trade for units while we try to slow them down is probably still the right call. We find a replacement anyway.
Blast 'em.
I think here we're at the point now where we have to start conserving health. So I think here Culling Strike is fine because we have a backup, and then we develop Ashe, which will hopefully let us move this next turn into Ashe plus Arena to start keeping pressure on their board presence while we try to play catch up. And if it's not Arena next turn, then we'll also have Tavern Keeper.
Victory awaits. Master your demons.
So that's a great Swain for them.
No one's the wiser.
Swiftly now.
Moving into
Uh-oh. They got another Ember Maiden or something going on here.
I'll try anyone once.
So the problem we have now is that Arena doesn't get rid of Swain, and then we have to stop him next turn if our Ashe dies. And Culling Strike no longer removes Swain. Well, it does actually here. I think that's the play. As much as I want to Arena, I think we just have to do it this turn. I was thinking if we let the frostbite go, but I think right now we just Tavern Keeper. We accept that our Ashe is likely going to die here. I think we don't do this. Let's just do this. Mental fog for a moment. I was like, oh, I can use one of my fervors, but then I remembered, hey, you don't have infinite mana there, Charmer. You should probably pay attention. Remember when I said mental fog? More coffee. More coffee is always the solution.
I can't wait.
Locked and ready.
All right, frostbite one, and then if we don't have to utilize one of these, this is definitely an Arena turn, which should get us back in business. And we've done so pretty comfortably by keeping our health at 15. Again, those Tavern Keepers are relatively clutch. Now, here is an interesting dilemma because I think instead this is the play, because this saves us a lot of damage while still removing a unit. No Arena, but we'll bank the spell mana. Find an Ashe though.
On one arrow.
We have enough for Ashe and Arena and a backup plan.
own what you take.
Of course, now that ruins it. That does ruin it. I mean, we still play Arena. Our strongest unit fighting their weakest still pulls one off. They have no cards, so we don't have to worry about anything there. Just kind of a bummer because we would have liked Ashe. We've gotten the free trade. Sejuani is just an issue because of her huge body. We need to top deck a frostbite here. Oh, predictions.
Destination in sight.
Okay. This frostbite is so huge.
My turn.
This is interesting. I was gonna say they might legitimately just pass here to save this, because this is so important.
A true Falurian welcome.
Avarosa, guide me!
This Leviathan is an issue.
Hail, War Mother.
Drive them before us, Era.
We might have to use Harsh Winds on offense here. Can I afford to use it on offense though? So like right now, Ashe is gonna put damage on that. We know that the other play is a Swain. But we need this to die. So I actually am beginning to wonder if perhaps the play is actually instead to nuke my own archer to put 3 damage on that, knowing that Ashe is then gonna smack that and get rid of it at round end.
Save the homestead.
And we don't attack because we don't want them
For the men.
to have something else. Like we want our Ashe to hit that and remove it. I mean, we could have attacked and then we could have just put damage on that and also used Scorch Earth, but then we run the risk of still losing our Ashe at that point, and then we don't remove the other unit, right? Because they had the multiple blockers, and we don't want to. Yeah, I think this is just straight up a pass, so that we don't have to deal with Leviathan. This was such a good play for them. I was gonna say they should know that they need the open attack. Is this a combat buff?
I've carved meat bigger than you.
These are our lands.
I think we do it this way. You could argue this goes here because you don't want this to Nexus strike you, because then you just lose the game. And I'm trying to think of anything they would have that would give +1 attack. And it would be what, another Sejuani, right? So it actually, I think, has to be this. If they buff her, it's not nearly as big of a deal. Yes, she gets to flip, but really you can't afford the Nexus strike. If this goes off, we just lose the game, period. So you have to do it this way.
I was forged by wind.
Oh. So interesting dilemma, because if I remove this, pretty sure my Ashe runs into that. But I think we get rid of it while we can.
Burn them. Destruction feeds my heart's fire.
And then, as weird as it sounds, I actually think we have to do this, right? Because otherwise we lose Ashe. She runs into this, and then this kills us at round start. Just frostbites them both and we draw a card. Because I can't imagine a scenario where us losing Ashe results in us winning.
Ancient things trapped in the ice.
You're whiffed, so this is our last Ashe, huh? All right.
Stand together.
I think we have to do
Dance in the
this.
flames.
And then now we have to decide whether or not we still continue to try to save our Ashe. I think we don't. Like, our entire point here is we're trying to culling strike this Sejuani, and so it just...
Explosives primed.
Oh, and so then you have that same dilemma again, right? Because we're gonna lose our Ashe if we don't culling strike this, because they're gonna run into each other. But then next turn, Sejuani comes down our throat, and we're going off the top deck again. Or we culling strike Sejuani, we eat at least 3, as we are behind on board, and anything that we top deck, like we need a unit. Oh, this sucks. All right, we need a unit on the board, because if we draw any sort of frostbite, for example, if we draw flash freeze, it's useless if we don't have a unit on the board. So not quite a flash freeze.
Onward. These are our lands.
I mean, we still take the damage, nothing we can do,
Well fought.
but we lose her either way. Oh, oh, this is payback for me winning last game when I had no business. All right. So they run Tusk Raider and Leviathan, huh? And then we start drawing dead. I don't know how we win this. If our Bjerg whiffed, we're out of Ashe. It's kind of our entire win con. I think I'm supposed to just let this go. Really brutal. We had to use a harsh winds there. But I just don't see a path to victory. I probably should just surrender this, but we're playing it through for YouTube, so we might as well.
For duty. Make the Empire
Down to
proud.
1. They've got the overwhelm on the Sejuani. Everything in their deck is huge. This will never frostbite anything ever again. And that's it. So we won one and we lost one. The one that we won, we had no business winning. This time we got punished, so it was fun. But anyway, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and until next time.